I want to say something about this self-care. It's this buzzword you hear all the time, but I actually think it's a little bit overrated. And we were at a dinner party last night. We were talking about how many Americans don't feel alive. We live in this world of, I would say, overabundance and overease. Our grocery store end up on our doorstep. We don't even go to the grocery store anymore. We drive everywhere. We're never in a room that's not either heated or cooled to 72 degrees. There's rich food everywhere. There's electronic distractions all the time. And to take the focus off of yourself and put it on your parents, your aging parents, or your children, or a friend in need. And while that might not feel like self-care, when do you ever feel more alive than you feel like I'm actually helping? Yeah. It's not easy. I'm stressed out, and I haven't even taken my shower, but yet you're doing something for others, and you're muscling through discomfort, and in this weird sort of ways, it's like, oh, holy, wow, I actually feel kind of good. And that second when you have a moment to yourself.
You're absolutely right. I feel totally alive in the service of, and that's a conversation you and I have been having, which is purpose alone the key to longevity, or is purpose tied to being of service, an aspect to longevity that is a key? Because can you share? I mean, I'm sure so many of your listeners.
You hit it right on, and we miss it. Purpose is this facile word, I think, that's overused that people barely understand it. But we know people who have a true sense of purpose live about 8 years longer than people who don't. And the way we know that is this very famous scientist named Robert Buettner analyzed the writings of people when they were young. And those people whose writings was laced with meaning, or they could sort of articulate their sense of purpose, they were living about 8 years longer than people who were rudderless in life. But when it comes to purpose, in all blue zones, there's vocabulary for purpose. But it's not the kind of purpose like, well, I love sports cars, or I collect Pokemon cards or something like that. There's always an element of altruism or philanthropy metabolized into that word. So the Okinawans have ikigai. And ikigai, longest lived women in the history of the world are Okinawans, and their ikigai, and they can all tell you what their ikigai is, but it almost always has to do with also supporting family or making the community a better place. They're the ones in the community, they're the spiritual leaders. Okinawa, by the way, is one of the few cultures in the world where women are the spiritual leaders, not the men, which probably imparts lower mortality to the kids. Or it's the men are karate teachers. Karate originated in Okinawa. And that martial art, which is also a discipline and an exercise, is passed down by the men. In Kauai, a place I just visited for my current book, they have this notion of kuleana. And kuleana is sort of, it's a word that is synonymous with both purpose and responsibility. You cannot break the two apart, and it's very strong. Kauai, by the way, has one of the longest healthy life expectancies in all of America. And you see these same sort of themes of purpose, and it doesn't have to do with self-enrichment or even self-gratification. It has to do with using my strengths to make my community better. And it's a big distinction, big distinction. And the way you're kind of describing your life, it's very similar. So if you like that clip, there's a lot more where that came from. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you won't miss our new videos as they come out each week.